Hello, goodbye, and hello again. Welcome back to Drifter Carbon and to another Minecraft texture pack review. Today we're taking a look at Ultra Modern Texture Pack by Cyclone. This one was like 663 Minecraft coins when I bought it, but it was on sale at the time and I don't know how much it is normally. So uh, hopefully that's helpful to you. I think it was like 30% off, 33% off. Maybe you can do the math yourself. But anyway, it's 63.2 megabytes, and it was updated for the Bundles of Bravery and Garden Awakens updates. So not too long ago, within the last year, it was updated. It's been a while since I've done a modern style texture pack, so I thought that would be a fun thing to do for a change of pace. The description says, bring new smooth vibes to your Minecraft with the ultra modern texture pack, perfectly suited for modern furniture and dreamy city homes. Modern textures for your own world. Smoothly refined HD 32x textures. Vanilla friendly, which, as we have discussed many times, doesn't mean a whole lot, but creators sure do love to stick it on there. Anyway, there's no avatars or anything, so I guess we'll just go ahead and jump on in. But if you've not seen one of these videos before, I show off all the textures and then give my final thoughts, give a score. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Now it's telling me that it's 62.7 megabytes, so it shrank a little apparently somehow, or I just remembered the number wrong. That's entirely possible as well. Anyway, things that grow, starting with things that grow, you can see they've got some cute little baby trees here. That looks nice. I like those. Here's your mushrooms. Kind of a fun jack-o'-lantern there. The pitcher plant kind of looks more like a rose in this pack, I suppose. There's the wither rose. Here's the different flowers. Those look okay. Have a fun sunflower there. Yep, we got the here, I added the composter so you can see what it looks like in different stages of composting. That's the chorus flower. I don't have that labeled for some reason. The Pale Garden stuff has been customized. It is updated recently enough that this stuff is here. That's what that looks like. I think the trees look kind of nice in this pack. Is there variations on the grass? Kind of hard to tell. I think some of them are just rotated different ways. Here's all of the tree barks next to each other. All the logs and planks. Yeah, I think that they did a good job with these. That's kind of funny. One of the shaved logs looks totally different from the others. The cherry one looks very different from the rest. Some of these look like more like planks than they do shaved logs, but whatever. Here's the planks. You can see they've actually got like totally different textures for all of the different planks. I do love to see that. That's very nice. No variations within each plank texture. Dirt, sand, gravel, and moss. There you go. Some decent earthy textures here. Sand, gravel, suspicious sand, and suspicious gravel. You can tell which ones are suspicious. You know what to look for. It's way more obvious on the sand than on the gravel, but you can tell there is a difference. Here's the sandstone. That's interesting. So they've got they look like different bricks. Here's stone and stuff. Yeah, I mean, you know, some of this is it might be a little difficult to immediately identify what textures are, but they look good. I think once you got used to using a pack, it wouldn't be much of a problem. Okay, so I'm assuming there's just no variations within this pack. I always have to check. Polished stone. Looks kind of similar to some of the regular stone, but different. Cobblestones. Here's bricks. So as one would hope, there's some good brick textures in this pack. You know, you can definitely build with these. Actually, hold on. Are these different from each other? No, I guess this is just one brick texture. Stone, bricks, blocks, etc. These are nicely done. I think you would not have any trouble building with any of these blocks. And if you're trying to build like a modern home, you want lots of like bricks and boards and stuff, because that's what houses are usually made of. Here's glass. You can see that it looks like the clear glass is just completely clear. Like I'm not seeing any texture on it at all. And the other textures here, the other glasses here have a variety of styles. Some of these have like blinds and stuff, which is something we haven't seen before, that I can remember at least. And that's kind of fun. Great for a modern build. Good variety there. Some of these would be difficult to see through, but luckily all of my animal enclosures are just the clear glass, so that'll be extra easy to see. Here's the different wool patterns. Nice to see a pack do the whole, you know, wildly different pattern for each color of wool. Makes for a nice carpet, or you know, you could do other cloth type things. You could make couches out of some of these wool, I bet. There's your concrete powder. Concrete also has different textures. I do like when packs put in the extra effort to do extra textures above and beyond what is expected of them. Terracotta, there's a couple of textures here. Here's the glazed terracotta. Appropriately modern, you know. Some of these textures are what you think of when you think of like the modern style. Here's ore. Does look like it's pretty easy to see most of these against the regular stone. That might be a little difficult from certain distances, but I don't think it's a problem. Nether ore, deep slate ore. Yeah, the deep slate ore looks fine too. Amethyst. Nice color of amethyst there. Random lonely magma block does have a very light amount of animation to it. Kind of just fading in and out. Here's the sponges. You can tell which one is wet. Light sources. They look like, I guess, like modern torches. You know, modern, torches. Yes. That is the word I'm looking for. I started to look for another word for it, like a more modern word for a torch, but what? Anyway, moving on. Nice bulbs here. Campfires. Here's miscellaneous light sources. Only one kind of jack-o'-lantern. If they were going to do some variations, then I think they should do some different jack-o'-lantern faces, because that's always an easy way to cram a variation in there. But those light sources look nice. Here's the signs. You can see they've got a border around them, and they've got different textures, similar to the planks. But I think these are usable. Yeah, I mean, like it would be a little better if the border was just a few pixels shorter on the top, because the text kind of rests right up against that edge. But other than that, they're great. Hanging signs, same story. Some of these would be a little difficult to read once you get text across the whole sign, now that I think about it. Monster spawner, looks like a cage with a lock on it. Here's fences and gates. I added some walls behind it in case the walls were dramatically different in a pack from their normal blocks, but these look like the normal blocks. But here's fences and gates. Dried kelp block. Diamond, lapis, gold, emerald, and redstone. Those look fine. Nice, you know, good level of they're cramming a decent level of detail in, considering that this is a, like, what did I say it was, a 32? Yeah, 32x. The iron block, raw copper, gold, and iron. Here's a lodestone. Prismarine, kind of fun. They did kind of some different things. It's more blue than usual. Slime block. Here's honey. A hay bale. Bone block looks kind of different. Here's quartz. Okay, they did something different with the quartz. Instead of having it be like carved quartz, they're just like different quartz blocks, like quartz slabs or whatever. Kind of interesting. I think that having some carved quartz would be good for like pillars and stuff, though. Copper looks nice. Very different, like metallic ladder there as opposed to a wooden one. Here's the doors. Yeah, you would expect a modern texture pack to have some modern looking doors, and it does. Nice variety of styles here. I would like to see more that have windows, but there is a couple. Trapdoors. These look good too. Here's bookcases, etc. Open the book up. That's what the book looks like. Here's what the enchanting table menu looks like. That reminds me, here's what the UI looks like. The icons and stuff on the UI. I think this is a nice looking menu because they have kind of a gradient here and a border. So it's not just all one color like 90% of texture packs out there. And you can see on the bottom, there's a nice high contrast item bar. So you can, I totally forgot to put the items back in my slot after I was adding stuff earlier. There we go. There we go. It took 2 seconds. Let's go ahead and set off a firework. Fun. Nice sparkles. Snowball, nothing too crazy with that. Here's a wind charge. That's what that looks like. Here's a map in my hand. You see the border around the map there. Okay. And here's the beds. Looks like it's one pattern for the bed. They could have done different textures on the different bedspreads, but or sheets, but that's all right. We're going for a more simple look there. Here's the crafting tables and villager job tables. That's interesting. The crafting table is like a sink. And yeah, I mean, it's still easy enough to tell what each of these are. There's the crafter back there. Look at some of these textures from different angles because there's different textures on the sides of some of these blocks. Then the block cutter is like a table saw. Furnaces. There you go. Look, they look like ovens. Anvils and grindstones. You can tell how damaged your anvil is. That's good. You have to, you know, you might struggle from a distance because it's not much contrast on the gouges, but it's fine. Here's cauldrons. That's lava. That's a potion. Very animated potion there. Here's the chests. So yeah, you can tell how which chest is trapped. Interesting looking in chest there. Doesn't look as modern as all the rest of the textures in this pack. Here's the barrel. Looks more fantasy, I mean, I guess. Well, I don't know, you know. I guess you could have a chest that looks like that. The jukebox and note block just look like blocks of wood. That's kind of strange. Why would you not have like a music player or a CD player or record player or something for the jukebox? Very strange. Hold on. Just there we go. Here is an empty armor stand. Very like contrasty armor stand there. Really like the pattern is stronger than I was expecting. The beacon, the bell, and the iron bars. Here's what the beam looks like on the beacon. Iron bar has kind of that like metal railing for like a balcony look to it. Here's paintings. So this is what, like a big part of this pack is the paintings, because this is a lot of the like modern decoration is things that you would stick on a wall or whatever. Like you got kitchen stuff here. You got the things for different rooms, you know, all kinds of different things to hang on the wall. That's like a refrigerator. So it's almost like you're getting some furniture just in the form of 2D decals that you can stick on your wall. That's a television. I don't have to tell you that. You can tell that's a television, but you got some various different actual paintings as well. It's not all just like wall decorations, but some plants as well. Very fun. Hasn't been updated since Dennis was added, but that's all right. I'm sure we'll have a version of Dennis in this pack next time it's updated. Here's item frames. Here's the rails. So the special rails look different from the regular rails, but this special rail, like this is the powered rail, and that's the activator rail, I think. And that's the pressure plate one. They look pretty similar to each other, actually. Like, I can't tell the difference between those two. I guess there's like a little yellow line. I'm colorblind, so I didn't see it. There is a difference, but it's not immediately apparent. So if you're using all three, it might be a little... They might blend together a little bit. Here's things in minecarts. Nice minecarts. I like the look of the minecart. There's the TNT. Here's a sheep in a minecart. Here's redstone stuff. There you go. It looks like modern machinery, as you would expect from a modern pack. Pistons. Here's pottery. Oh, they kind of went for a different vibe with the pots here. They've got like a glaze on them. That's interesting. And some different designs on some of the pots as well. That's kind of fun. Here's scaffolding. Banners. Here's boats. Let's get a better look at these. These are more detailed than a lot of packs, actually. Looks like the inside of most of the boats are the same, but the outside has different colors at least. Cool. There's the tough. Some fun patterns going on the tough there. The trial spawner and the vault. The vault looks like a machine. The lights turn on it when you get close to it. Here's some very different looking resin. Like resin boards there and resin bricks. And that's the resin on different things there. The target looks like, I guess it's supposed to look like the kind of target you'd have at like a shooting range. Here's the mob heads. We will get a look at the mobs in a moment, but there's the dragon egg. Here's various lengths of dripstone. There's the, that was the drip. So the, cauldrons have drains in the bottom of them, which makes sense, I guess. Here's lightning rod. Some of this stuff looks like it's floating in midair. There's glass underneath it. Lighting rod, chain, heavy core, conduit. I added a TNT. That's what the TNT looks like when it's not in a minecart. Go back over here. Here's some of the aquatic stuff. There's your sea pickles, seagrass. If you're hearing squeaking, like sounds like a chair squeaking or something, it's actually a tarp I have hung up outside that's pulling on the beam on my balcony. Here's the different coral. They're kind of a different design than usual. Looks very realistic, or looks like coral, you know. Kind of fun. Did some interesting things with that. I think the blocks are good in this pack. Yeah, I think they're really capturing the style that they're going for. Let's jump back. All right, here's the armor. You can see that they've got some different armors here. The chainmail looks very different from the rest of the armor. Well, oh, I guess it has some of the same lines, but it does have the chain underneath, of course, and the helmet is different there. Looks like the iron, the gold, and the diamond are very similar to each other. The netherite is a little bit different. I guess they all have different details on the chest plate and stuff. The helmets are similar, but nice to see that they're at least different enough. Let's get a look at the swords. Nothing too crazy going on with that. They just look like swords. I would like to see seen a little more variety on the swords, perhaps. Here's the elytra and the shield. There you go. The turtle helmet there. There's the bow and the mace. Here, let's look at armor trims and the various other tools. These are amethyst armor trim on iron armor. Looks like they did, in fact, have their own custom armor trims. Some fun designs here. Not as huge of a fan of the tools necessarily, but I do like the way that the armor and the armor trims look like. I think, you know, the tools are usable. They're not ugly or anything. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the overall look of it. The hoe looks very like a modern hoe. That's nice. I'm fond of that, at least. Here's the other miscellaneous held items. There's the respawn compass and the regular compass and the clock. Looks like a watch or something. Go. Yeah, the elytra is like a glider, I guess. Appropriate enough. Horse armor. Here's potions. Oh, the potions look like drinks and stuff. So that's fun since it's modern, right? Nice that they went for kind of that. That almost looks like a bottle of ketchup to me. So I guess you can drink some ketchup, but here's the rest of the foods. These are nice. I like the pixel art on the items so far. Yeah, cute fish there. Nice looking food. Here's the music discs. They're like CDs or I guess records. Fun. Some of this stuff is too new because those just came out recently. They released like 2 music discs in short succession, which was quite unusual. Here's things in buckets. They're like things in buckets, modern buckets. I thought they were like coffee cups when I first saw them, but no. That's some cute pixel art on the things in buckets. Various minerals. Other stuff. Yeah, I mean, most of this is identifiable as what it is. I don't remember what goes here. Something looks like a flash drive in this pack. I'm not sure what. Maybe those are like armor trims, maybe. I think. And then here's some of the newer stuff. That's what the skulk stuff looks like. I don't have those set up in the 3D world, but anyway, so nice looking items. Everything's on theme so far. Let's go check out the mobs. Here's what a bench or a couch would look like. It does actually kind of look like some benches that I've seen before. So the trapdoors, I'm not normally a fan of trapdoors with holes in them, but given the style of this pack, I think it's fitting enough. You can see that the smithing table has like vices on the side of it. Here's the nether portal. Here, I added in the regular slabs and the double slabs recently. That's what all of they look like, all of them. But nothing too crazy there. They're kind of just half versions of regular ones. Here's the animals, starting with the chicken here. They may all be, yeah, I think those are all just the default versions of them. I've said this a bunch of times lately, there's some sort of Minecraft problem where the farm animals are not showing up as custom versions of themselves. That's what the bee looks like. Cute enough looking bee. So normally the pig and the cow and the chicken would look different, but they don't. That's not the pack's problem. Here's the sheep. Interesting looking face on the sheep there. Here's the wolf and wolf armor. Some cute mobs. The polar bear look like brown bears. I guess since they're going for a modern theme, they're trying to say, okay, you know, most places in the world, what are you more likely to see, right? You'd be more likely to see a brown bear or a grizzly bear. But I do love the faces on the mobs so far. Those are excellent. There's the ocelot and the cat. They have an appropriate expression of not really caring what you're on about. But, you know, cute mobs. Mushroom is default. Here's the bat. Yeah, I guess the clear glass does have a little bit of a texture to it. It's not always super obvious, but you can see when there's multiples of them next to each other that there is kind of a banding on them. Here's the parrots. Yep, they're parrots. They sure are. Didn't do anything too crazy. Here's the rabbit. The llamas. Oh, they've done some interesting things with the blankets and stuff on the llamas. Fun when a pack does some different patterns and stuff. Cute llamas. Here's the horses and the horses in horse armor. There you go. I mean, I guess that's modern enough. There's actually different designs on the horse armor there. They're not all the same as each other, actually. It's a nice level of detail there. The donkey and the mule, very similar to each other. The skeleton horse is kind of darker than usual. The zombie horse is very zombified today. It's not like, you know, I don't know. I mean, that might be a little disturbing to a child, but who knows? Here's the tropical fish. Oh, I didn't shear the sheep. That's okay. It's not a custom geometry, I don't think, so it's fine. Here's the cod. I don't even have to get in the tank with most of these mobs. I will get in the tank with the puffer fish, just so that they puff up. There you go, cute little guys. Here's the salmon. Yes, I pronounce it that way on purpose. The dolphin. I think they did a good job on all of the aquatic mobs. Here's the sea turtle. Kind of a cute turtle there. So these mobs are realistic without being like uncanny. There's the panda and the fox. Cute little fox. The creeper. Oh, the creepers are robots. That's an interesting take on some of the more alien mobs there. That's fun. The Endermen, are they going to be robots too? Got to go out here and find one first. Here's the Enderman. What do they look like? I'm trying to see one from the front. If I can get it to stay still. They're just kind of Endermen, but they've got detail to their skin. Got to zoom on back here so we can continue where we left off. Silverfish, less spiny than usual, but it's got like little, almost looks like it has little legs. Very detailed skeleton there, kind of fun. And the wither skeleton. The stray has kind of one bigger eye and one smaller eye. The slime. Here's the spider and cave spider. They look like spiders. The zombie has, you know, appropriately enough, modern clothes on. Just tattered kind of work clothes. The bogged. Here is the husked. And the drowned. See, the husk and the drowned are next to each other, so my brain always tries to tell me that it's the husked. Like, tries to stick an ED on the end of husk, but, you know. Does he have, what does he have on his shirt there? I guess it's like a tie, like his tie is untied, because he's a zombie. Here's a squid and a glow squid. Yeah, they look pretty good. They're kind of more realistic. The witch. Yeah, fun. Kind of a different vibe for the witch there. Here's the guardian and elder guardian. Gotta actually see them from the front. I guess it's kind of difficult to make some of the more fantasy mobs look like they belong in a modern world. The endermite. Gonna have to spawn one in. This pack has not been updated since they did the custom eggs. That's what the endermite looks like. It has an eye. Here is the magma cube. I'll face over this way. Pretty standard magma cube that may be default. The strider. They have their mouths open when they're out of the lava, and then they close them when they're in the lava. The Zoglin. Oh, it's got like a black eye or like a missing eye. Kind of gruesome, actually. A little bit more gruesome on the zombified mobs in this pack. Zombie piglin. It's not a horror pack. You wouldn't expect them to go whole hog on the zombified hoglin there. Here's the sheep. I'm sorry, the goat. We already saw the sheep earlier. Pretty standard looking goat. The axolotl. Yeah, they look like axolotls. There you go. Nice level of detail, and they've got they look more axolotl-y than usual because you can see their spots easier, but they've got like different patterns and stuff on the different colors. Fun. The allay is going with that robot vibe once again, making some of the more fantasy mobs more technology based. There's the frog. Gonna have to spawn in a wandering trader. Get out, Joe Llamas. There you go. He's in kind of a like a business suit, kind of a businessman, appropriately enough. He is a trader after all. Shopkeep. Here's the camels. They have like the like harnesses around their mouths to hold on their saddles or whatever, or their leads. There's the blaze. Here's the ghast. That's what the ghast looks like. These guys are too new. They will be updated eventually, one assumes. This pack has gotten updates over the years, so it will probably be updated again. The Vindicator and Evoker are just kind of construction workers. That's kind of funny that they just have evil construction workers be the Vindicator and Evoker there. Here's the villagers. How many villager faces are we going to have? Looks like kind of, yeah, like one face, but they've got different, like, accessories, different eyebrows and different hair and accessories. So that's kind of a way to take, kind of a basic base and then build detail on top of it. I do like that. Very nice. Like the villagers. Here's the zombie villagers. They look like they're having a bad day. Hey, me too, buddy. I'm right there with you. Here's the Phantom. The Pillager, once again. Evil construction workers. You know, evil city workers. Not sure why they did that, but here's the Ravager. It is a machine. As I was kind of expecting. I would expect most of the crazier mobs to be like that. Oh, the Iron Golem is a robot too. That's fun. Can you tell how damaged he is, though? They do have like a cracked screen when they're damaged. So there you go. There is some damage shown on your Iron Golem, but you have to be paying really close attention to it because the rest of them just looks the same. Does their expression change? It does look like, yeah, they frown. They frown and get sad eyes when they're damaged. Here's the Snow Golem. Snow Golem with his pumpkin carved off. Pretty cute. It's wearing like earmuffs under its pumpkin. Here's the Sniffer. Didn't turn him into a robot. Here's the Armadillo. And the Warden. Didn't do anything too crazy with him, but he's got a nice level of detail. The Breeze. And the Wither. Quit spinning, Wither. You're making it difficult to see you. There you go. He's got a couple of different expressions. And here is the Creaking, who is, in fact, a custom pattern because the Pale Garden stuff is here. Okay, yeah, I like the mobs in this pack. I feel like they did a good job of making them feel modern. Let's go check out the Nether. I just noticed that we have yet another pack here where the some of the items look huge when they're in your hand, like the snowball or the wind charge, or some of the other blocks and stuff that show up as just like colossal. Not like so huge that it takes up your whole character or anything, but you know, still, I just thought I'd point that out. Here's the non-zombified Hoglin. Much less gruesome than its brother, but seems to have I guess they do have like irises and stuff. At first I thought that was they just had like wide eyes, but they do actually have some there. Here's the respawn anchor. Looks, I guess it looks kind of machine-like. I showed off the portal before, but I didn't really comment on it. It's kind of a swirly, but animated. They did a good job of making it seem animated at least. Kind of a simple animation, but still. Here's the piglins. Face over this way, piglins. We can see the differences between your faces. There you go. He's got the scar over one eye, and they've got different kind of modernized outfits, modernized versions of their usual outfits there. Kind of cool. I like the way the piglins look. Fly out this way. That's a better look at the ghast. Fly over to this other biome real quick. And we can get a better look. Oh, well, didn't mean to go in the lava. Just meant to look at the lava. So it does kind of animate a little bit. It's just kind of transitions between different spot patterns, but that is still an animation. Here's what this biome looks like. You can see the leaves on these trees, 'cause I don't have these in the other world. But yeah, I think the nether looks pretty good in this world. Let's go check out. Here we are in the Stronghold Below template world. If you want to create a world similar to this one with the Stronghold right about here, when you're creating a new world, next to where you'd input a custom seed, there's the template button, and this one's Stronghold Below. Kind of a fun moon in this world. Kind of reminds me of like a golf ball, kind of. You know, that's what it makes me think of. But I guess the moon is kind of like a giant golf ball, isn't it? The clouds as well. They went for kind of a light, wispy cloud here. Less pixelated than the default clouds for sure. I do like the way that the sky looks. Here's a villager house. And oh, cobwebs. Yeah, I still have to fly over here to show the cobwebs. I added pretty much everything else to the other world, the texture pack review world, but still got to come here for the cobwebs. But that's okay because it gives us an excuse to see some more houses. Here is what the pig house looks like. There are still pigs in there. There you go. And then when they added the cold pig, they became cold pigs. They were just regular pigs before that. Here's what a ruined portal looks like. I think that the crying obsidian looks good with the regular obsidian, but it is kind of definitely lighter than the regular obsidian there. Fly back over this way. Here's what the frozen water and the ice look like. Those look nice. And we will go ahead and jump on in to the stronghold. Yeah, overworld looks pretty good, I would say. On down here. Here's what the stronghold looks like. A very, like, big difference between... I'm not sure I like this, actually. Big difference between the mossy stone and the regular stone and stuff. So the stronghold looks kind of weird. Yeah, not a huge fan of the stronghold. That's probably the weakest part of the entire pack so far. But maybe that's just a personal preference thing. Here's throwing a bottle of enchanting. That's what the enchantment swirlies look like. Drink a potion of strength. So you can see the swirlies there. Normal goat horn. Reloading the crossbow. Crossbow has kind of a... It's got like arrows on the front of it. Kind of interesting. That's what a sword looks like in your hand. I mean, the weapons are usable, you know. I'm not totally a fan of the look of the weapons, but that's what the end portal looks like. Go ahead and jump on in. There's kind of a nice level of detail to the night sky vibe that they had going there. See if we can get a better look at the Endermen when they're not teleporting away. Cool, cool, cool. Fly up here to an end crystal. That's what they look like. And the Ender Dragon has nice tattered wings. It looks almost zombified in some respects. Or it's just got a strong pattern on its belly, I guess. It's not necessarily zombified, but kind of a little bit skeletal, you know, but could just be lizard-like. But I like the Ender Dragon. That's a nice level of detail on the Ender Dragon there. Kind of fun. No problems there. I just realized the armor looks kind of weird on my character because, like, his eyes are kind of like down below where the eye slot is. You can just see his eyebrow twitching up and down or whatever. That's kind of funny. So yeah, what do I think about this pack? I think this is the best modern pack that I've ever seen. I thought the blocks were very on theme. They're very, you know, appropriately modern, and they... T-posing dragon. You know, that's what the dragon's default pose looks like before it animates. When it gets too far away, it does that. But nice aesthetic overall on the blocks. I felt they were, you know, would be very easy to build with. You could definitely make a modern house with this pack, and that's kind of the whole point. Where was I? Here we go. Okay, yeah, the paintings are super useful. Like, I feel like if you're making a modern house, then the paintings are great for that kind of build. There's something there for pretty much any room that you could have going. As far as the items go, I thought the armor was nice, and the armor trims were really cool. They did a good job of kind of having them look like modern decals that you have on a suit or on a shirt, or you know, on a suit of armor or whatever. Kind of did some different things instead of just having the same kind of patterns that we see all the time. The items themselves were very modern versions of what they were, and you know, the tools and weapons were a little bit underwhelming perhaps, but you know, there's nothing inherently wrong with them. I just wasn't personally a huge fan of it, but I still think that they're usable. So I'm not going to hold it against the pack. The mobs were the villagers, I thought were kind of cleverly done, where they've got like one face, but it's got different facial hair and accessories and stuff. So they did a good job with the villagers. I kind of liked the fact that some of the more fantasy mobs were robots instead. Not all of them, but most of them. There's just a nice level of detail on the mobs in general, I would say. And just overall kind of fun. I like the expressive faces on the mobs. Not sure how I feel about the fact that some of the zombified monsters were kind of more graphic or more, you know, scary, I guess, than usual. Because it's not really, I don't really think horror when I think modern, but you know, but that wasn't a huge problem. The UI is simple, but I feel it has a nice gradient on the menu, and a nice border, and the item bar is nice and high contrast. Nothing too crazy design wise, but I think it works well. So yeah, I'm gonna give this pack a 5 because I think it deserves it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please leave it a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you know somebody who would enjoy watching this video, then please do share it with them. And comment down below what you think of this pack. You know, what did you think of the mobs and the blocks and stuff? Have you used this pack yourself? And what sort of things do you build in it? Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you next time. Peace. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, and share.